Please come back to look at Stephen for your answers. By all means, chip into each other. But
yeah.
Please come
Am
back
I
to
doing that? Because I thought I was doing that.
I think you are, but I'm just reminding you.
Oh, right.
Go and give him a slap. If you, I mean.
Give you a slap in a minute. Naughty boy.
Oh, more? My father was a film editor. My grandfather was a film producer and director. My grandmother was a continuity girl. And when it came to leaving school, I thought, well, I'd like to go into business as well. And I wanted to be a cameraman. And I spoke to my dad about it. He said, I couldn't get you a job as a cameraman, but I can get you a job as a film editor. Do that, and then you can move over. But I never really wanted to move over once I became, got involved in the cutting rooms. I met you at Denham Studios. I think I was 16, you were probably a bit older. It's just before you went into the army, I think. I went into the Air Force a couple of years later, and we met up again at Shepperton Studios. Yeah, so happy days, I think.
You're too high, Skipper.
I met Gerry Anderson. I became his assistant on a film called An Appointment in London.
You won't make it. Go round again.
We became very close friends, and then I went on to assist him on the next picture. I was working at MGM at Elstree, and Gerry phoned me up and said, would you like to come and edit a programme called Twizzle? He said, they're puppets, I'm afraid. My first question was, how much? So he told me.
£2.10 a week.
£2.10 a week, yes. It was all new to me in those days, but I wasn't really worried about it. Because Gerry and I were so close anyway that, he was always there to help. Barry Gray, the composer, had this idea for the Cowboy series. It was the first series on which I became a director. Gerry kept saying, will you direct? And I said, well, my wife's expecting a child very soon. But as usual, he talked me into directing just before the baby was born.
Stand by for action.
I was only in it for the money. Oh, they were great days, great days.
Thunderbirds is the brainchild of husband and wife team Gerry and Sylvia Anderson, and is directed by David Elliott.
And now all is ready. The director has a final check, and the cameras roll.
It's much different than directing humans because puppets can't do what humans can.
If you could direct me to the Tower of London, I would know my way from there.
The tower? Yes, that's easy enough.
You had to give your instructions to the puppeteer up on the bridge, and the puppeteer would manoeuvre the puppet.
Very, very difficult.
Very, very frustrating.
Very frustrating.
Give Fisher a handful. I'll hang on here.
Oh,
We
it was
had
good
our-
fun.
Did have our favourites amongst the directors.
But I was always conscious, that girls were hanging over the bridge, holding
Yeah.
puppets, and they're very heavy.
You were more considerate than some that I could mention.
But you came in first as an editor, didn't you?
Was it not one of your films that you had directed that I edited it?
Yes.
And you had something to say to me about the editing after that one?
Oh, yes. What the fucking hell do you call this? It was probably a rough cut anyway, wasn't it?
Well, it was as far as you were concerned, that's for sure.
The wall's closed.
I went editing for the BBC, I was doing documentaries, plays, all sorts of things, and I really enjoyed that. With editing, you can edit all day long.
Oh, yeah.
It can be a bloody mess. You can look at it at the end of the day and say, oh, well, I'll fix that tomorrow morning. As a director, you cannot do this. Didn't have the pressure on me that the puppets had. Although, of course, the pressure was there. Working on television, you've got to get a film out in 6 weeks, whether you like it or not. If you've taken the job on and you can't do it, you ain't going to work again.
Paul Vézelay was born in Bristol in 1892. 75 years ago, she decided that she'd become a serious painter, and she's worked virtually every day ever since, and still does.
Go! The bloody Yugoslavian civil war has become a magnet for many men attracted to violence.
I love her, but I never want her, sensually. Not in the way that I was aroused by my nursemaid when I was a child.
If it wasn't for the money, I'd let this lot rot.
Adam, isn't it? Detective Constable Rush.
Give us your secrets. How do you make Thunderbirds in the 60s?
I don't know. I can't remember who was the director, the producer, or what. Are you ready? Yeah. Running. Action.
Yeah, well, it was weird. As soon as I opened the door there, I was at home. Let's get on.
Yep, that's the one.
What could you advise them from having worked on the original series? Were there wrinkles and tips you could have given them?
Yeah, but they didn't take any notes.
The youth of today.
Go away, you silly old buggy. Go away.
Cut. Print.
It looked very good to me. A fine piece of filming.